Okay, so I'm still here talking about your financials and tracking that and keeping good control over the financial situation in your business. But today what I'd like to do is talk about cash flow planning. I hardly find any business owners that do this cash flow planning, and yet it is so vital and so important. Why? Well, over the last 40 years, I've seen a lot of profitable businesses, in actual fact, shut their doors. Why? Because they've run out of cash. They've hit a point in the year where they don't have sufficient cash to pay the bills. And they've gone to the bank, and the bank gone, nope. They've hunted around trying to get money in, and they can't source it. Why? Because they're doing it in an emergency. It's all panic. I don't have enough money to pay the wages or whatever. Can't pay the rent, the landlord's going to kick me out, or whatever the story is, they've run out of cash. And if they're profitable, why do they run out of cash? Well, it's all to do with timing. Very often, people will incur an expense, but don't get the income for that until sometime later. I know when I was in financial planning, from the time we started working with a client, so incurring the expense, to the time when we got our first check, could be, and I got paid for it, it could be anything up to 2 to 3 months. Now you must be aware of time lags in your business, because if you get a period, we live in cairns, up in the tropics, and if you're a builder or somebody who works outside, if you do not do cash flow planning for the December, January, February period, which is our wet season, then you could be in a whole lot of trouble, because you need to be very conservative in that period about how much income you're going to earn versus what your expenses are. Because, you know, in the wet season, you could have days and days and even weeks when you cannot get on to the job and work, and yet you're still paying people. So it's absolutely vital you do cash flow planning. Modern software, bookkeeping software, makes this really easy for you to do cash flow planning. It will come out with a suggested cash flow based upon history and so forth, but then you can modify that. You know, you can apply a factor in there, worst case scenario type factor. You go, well, yeah, okay, well, we'll say the expenses continue like that, but we'll bring down the income during those periods and build it up in other periods. But you've got a basis. They make it really easy for you to give you a basis under which you can do cash flow planning. If you don't know how to do that in your software, then go and talk to somebody. Whoever supplied you with the software, go and find a mentor or something or other, so you know how to do these very important things. It's just something that's so seldom done, and yet is so important. Cash flow planning.